everyone, and thank you all so very much for coming to what is the 8th annual Lavgrad graduation, and the very first time that we are combining the graduations with women and gender studies. So thank you all so much for coming out. Also, this is the largest cohort of students that we've had graduate. Today we've got, is it 31 now? Because that's why we were late. Is it 31, 32? We've got about 31, 32 graduates tonight. So this is gonna be wonderful. And so let's see who's in the room since there's so many new faces. So if you are a student, could you please stand up? A current student. Oh, awesome. If you are faculty and staff, could you all stand up, please? If you are an alumni of George Mason, could you please stand up? Thank you, welcome back. And if you are friends and family, please stand up. Somebody stood up, so sorry. All right, so we also have some distinguished guests in the room, and hopefully I have not missed anyone. If I have missed your name, please forgive me, but and you can hold your applause to the end, but we'd like to welcome Provost David Wu, the University Provost, Chris Clark Talley, you can stand, you won't start. Chris Clark Talley, the Associate Vice President of Alumni Relations, Julian Williams, Vice President of Compliance, Diversity, and Ethics. I didn't look around, I don't have my glasses on, but are there ODON staff in here? Because they're probably over there cleaning up, and they'll probably be over here in a few minutes. Angela Bacone, the Bacone family, as they come every year. Angela Johnson, Associate Director, Wellness, Alcohol, Violence, and Education Services. And David Kravitz, Professor of Management in the School of Business. So let's welcome all of these guests. And like I said, if you miss anyone, I do apologize. And so now, Provost Wu is going to give a short welcome. So,
good evening. I know I'm not on your official program. I'm not here to crash the party, but I'll be very brief. I just want to, on behalf of Dr. Cabrera, to first of all welcome all the alums who are here, and also extend our hardest congratulations for all the graduates that's going to graduate. And I don't pretend to know what you went through and to get to this point, but it must be a bittersweet moment for all of you. And I guess the only one thing to keep in mind is keep connected with Mason, and don't forget about us, and come back. And I see you at graduation. Thank you very much.
Another welcome. Good evening, everybody. You're going to get several heartfelt welcomes in the next couple of minutes. So I'm Rose Pasquarello, I'm Vice President for University Life, and on behalf of University Life, I also want to welcome you to the 8th Annual Lavgrad graduation. The first year, as Amina said, that Lavgrad is joined by Women and Gender Studies in this really wonderful celebration, and I'm happy to be in it with Rick Collar, and then with Angie Hattery as well. So I've had the pleasure and privilege to be at the first Lavgrad celebration. Yes. And it's great to see the Bacone family here, and also the first Women's Studies graduation. So back in the day, those celebrations were attended by a very small number of students, but the students who were graduating, like today, were amazing in their accomplishments, perseverance, activism, resilience, and all-around kick-ass attitude. Now, all those qualities were not embodied in every student. Some just wanted their degree. Others were Mason community members through and through, fighting for what they believed in and what they felt strongly about. But all were celebrating an amazing personal accomplishment. In fact, the tradition of Lavgrad began in 1995 at the University of Michigan with 3 LGBTQ graduates, and now 21 years later, we know of about 200 schools who hold lavender graduations. 4 of them are right here in Virginia. Were we the first, Rick? Yes. Yes. At Mason, this has been an eventful year for LGBTQ and ally students at our institution as well as the world around us. Globally, we've seen progress as well as continued discrimination. Throughout the world, momentum for marriage equality continues to grow. In the past year, the U.S., as well as Ireland, Mexico, Colombia, and Finland, now nearly 24 countries have legalized same-sex marriage. And there's more good news for LGBTQ people globally, advances made in Vietnam, Nepal, and Africa. And yet, we know that LGBTQ people in many contexts flee their homes in countries seeking safe refuge here in the United States and in other countries. Nearly 80 countries continue to criminalize LGBT status or conduct. Here in the U.S., marriage is not the only area of progress. California, New Jersey, Oregon, and Illinois have enacted laws barring licensed therapists from practicing conversion therapy with minors. These approaches to changing sexual orientation have been denounced by every major medical and health organization in the country. Some of you may have been around long enough to remember that Mason's own LGBTQ Resources had its own battle with the ex-gay movement, but luckily that's history. For the U.S. transgender community, this has been a year of progress and visibility, media attention, and greater understanding among the general population. However, it was also another year in which the number of deaths of trans people of color from murder and suicide continued to break our hearts. We've witnessed North Carolina recently enact a state law that blocks protections for LGBT people. Yet we have great reason to be moved by the forms of resistance that the North Carolina law has awakened. The state's attorney general has announced that he would not defend the new law in court. More than 90 major corporations have signed a letter to the governor voicing their intention to consider moving their businesses out of state. And Georgia's governor has vetoed a similar bill. A couple important notes about Mason. For years, trans and gender nonconforming students have found huge obstacles trying to be recognized throughout our systems by the current names. This past year, a working group led by Dr. Joya Creer, who's here, and Jimmy Brown Leonard have been advocating to create a space in our database at Mason, it's called Banner, for students to share their preferred name that can be used for a range of purposes. And we're now confident that Mason will have a preferred name policy and procedure by the end of the academic year. We'll be the first public in Virginia when we accomplish that. Yeah, great. Also, starting with academic year 2017, Mason will begin using the Common Application for Admissions. This application, used by many institutions, has just announced that it's added a question about gender identity, with options beyond the male, female binary. Many individuals and organizations working in LGBTQ higher education have pushed for this change over many years, and next will push for a question about sexual orientation. And let's not forget that we continue to be a model for other universities in the Commonwealth by offering gender-neutral housing. We were the first in the Commonwealth to do that. And we have Rick Collar and Anita Johnson. Yeah. Globally as well as in our own local institution, we're in the midst of both important progress and continued injustice. The renaming of Mason's Law School has struck a chord of discontent, anger, and disappointment with many in our community. Not just students, but staff and faculty as well. It's just true. I've thought a lot about this since the naming occurred, and I honestly don't think that there are any shortcuts through this. The naming has sparked a conversation about Mason's commitment to diversity. Despite the name, I believe that commitment stands and will show itself in even stronger, more tangible ways in the near future. For me personally, I've thought long and hard about the contradictions that exist for many of us who identify as LGBTQ. not just at Mason, but in our families, our religious institutions, our schools, the positions that political candidates hold that we choose to vote for. Because of that reality for so many of us, I hope we continue to name the injustices that exist in our lives, our schools, acknowledge the complexities, take a stand, and continue to know that we are all deeply good. No law school name can take that away from us. So, I congratulate Mason's LGBTQ and ally students who have been engaged in academics, in campus life, and in communities. I congratulate those graduates from Women and Gender Studies as well, a program that is so close to my heart. You have survived to graduate. Tonight, George Mason honors and celebrates the achievements and contributions of these LGBTQ students and their allies. We hope tonight will bring you one more chance to experience community, to learn about the accomplishments of fellow graduates, a sense of how proud and inspired we are, and a bit of fun and refreshments. So once again, welcome, congratulations, and I want to introduce my colleague, Dr. Angie Hattery, Director of the Women and Gender Studies Program.
Good evening! It's way past my bedtime, so I'm running on some caffeine. I'm Angie Hattery. I'm Professor and Director of the Women and Gender Studies Program at Mason, and it is my pleasure to join in welcoming you here this evening. Women and Gender Studies is a unique program at Mason and nationwide in that we are both an academic and a university-like unit. Our mission is to provide opportunities for intellectual, personal, and social inquiry and interrogation related to sex, gender identity and expression, sexuality, intersections with race, ethnicity, class, disability, age, nationality, immigration, and citizenship status, and religion through feminist, queer, and multiracial lenses with a focus on global and transnational issues and public policy. That's our mission statement. I didn't just make that up. Pretty cool, huh? We do this by offering programming, including lectures, film screenings, and events just like this one, as well as by offering an undergraduate minor, a graduate certificate in Women and Gender Studies, and a Women and Gender Studies concentration in the Masters of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies, or MAIS program. Many of the graduates we are honoring tonight will be receiving one of these degrees at next week's convocation. We invite you to join us then as well. We are especially pleased to be joining Lavender Graduation this year as a collaborative partner. This is a partnership long overdue, as for many years our faculty, staff, and students have participated in Lavender Graduation, including as faculty and student speakers, so we could not be more thrilled than to make this partnership official. Congratulations to all of you participating tonight, especially our speakers, graduates, and their family and friends. Thank you.